Hi guys, so my name's Liz. I am a physical therapist. I am also a whitewater kayaker. I've been kayaking since I was 9 years old. Before that, I was in my dad's canoe, and I got out of my dad's canoe because I wanted to decide which side of the rock I wanted to go on, and he didn't always agree with me. Young ones, you guys probably understand that more so than the older ones, because you guys always got to choose. So I got in with Scott because he came in with one of my patients. He had some elbow issues, some forearm issues, helped him out with that, and through working with him, he kind of brought into light you guys and how there's not a whole lot of warm-up or a whole lot of giving back to y'all about what you should do for your body. Kayaking is hard on your body. It's not easy, and it's not something that you can usually get in the boat and start doing if you're not quite warmed up. You can, but you kind of feel the repercussions. You're like, oh, my hips are a little tight. Oh, I'm not quite on my game. I didn't quite make that turn how I wanted to. So that's what this is for. One, it's to make your body feel and do better when you first initially get out there. And then also make you know a little bit more about your body and what you need to do for kayaking shape. How you actually make it better. How you make yourself feel better. I was talking to another guy this morning about how he's like, well, my hips always get really tight. I have been in my kayak about 8 hours each day. I'm not able to figure out what I need to do for my body. That's for a little bit separate day, but all of these warm-up exercises can cross over. If you warm up better, you're going to feel better and you're going to do better in your kayak, and you're not going to need as much extra part on the outside of it or on like afterwards. So that's what this is. It's a little warm-up for it. Any questions on that basis of why you actually need a warm-up? It's funny, a lot of other sports and athletes, you see them do it. Football, you watch any of the like NFL stuff. Baseball, you watch that stuff. You always see people warming up. For kayaking, everybody just I brought my boat over. I set it down. I'm good to go. Hop in. I mean, I do it. I've done it before. I've hiked up to the top of different rapids and stuff and been like, I should probably warm up. That's good. Get in. You know, I've been there. You guys do it. You guys probably still do it. And so hopefully this will get, even if you don't do this entire warm-up sequence, you can have a couple exercises that you know, this makes me feel better. I like it when I do this. I have more mobility. I have more control. I can be on my line first lap down. So even if you don't do the full bits, take pieces. Pieces and parts are going to be, everybody's a little bit different. Everyone has a little bit different body, and this is a general guideline. Okay? It is by no means perfect as well, because I developed it, and I'm human. Okay? And so if you don't like parts of it, it doesn't feel good, then don't do it. If it doesn't feel good, it should feel lovely. It should feel great. And if it doesn't, cut it out. Don't do it. Okay? It's not a set in stone exercise program. It is not a set in stone warm-up program. It is a baseline. It is a general guideline for it. Cool? So when talking about kayaking and sea-wanting, what are the things we need most whenever we go down the stream? Like shoulder movement. What are some other things? Hips. What about hips?
They've got to be loose.
They've got to be loose. That's exactly right. Where does loose hips come from? Anybody else can answer this? What?
Sitting up straight.
Sitting up straight? Yep, that's one. What happens when you sit up straight? Arch your back, thoracic spine. Yep, some thoracic spine mobility helps your hips stay loose. What else happens? Core is engaged. Yep, so if your core is engaged, your hips are loose because your hips aren't having to do what your core is actually supposed to do. Happens to a lot of us, me in particular. Okay? What else is supposed to happen? What else do you need? So core engagement, mid-back movement, mobility. Yeah, your neck. Your neck is a huge part within this. What happens with your neck?
It's got to be relaxed.
Yep, that's exactly right. It's got to be relaxed. You got to be able to look where you're going. Everybody has heard, look where you're going. Look at what you want to do. Turn your head when you want to pivot turn. You know, look. Well, if your head doesn't move, your neck doesn't move, you think you're going to be able to do that right and get the rest of your body going? No, we probably need that too. Yep, neck. So we got neck movement, we got mid-back movement, we got core engagement. What else do we need? Shoulders. What about the shoulders? Yeah, they need to be stable. That's exactly right. A lot of people are like, oh, I don't have quite as much movement. I'm like, if you don't have 180 degrees, you're probably going to live life all right. But if your shoulder is loose, it doesn't feel engaged, you're not going to be all right. And so making sure our shoulder is nice and engaged, we got those muscles going for us. That's what's going to help prevent having those shoulder dislocations, can prevent having shoulder issues. If you warm your shoulder muscles up good, you're going to be kayaking for forever. My parents are like 65 and 68. They're still crushing it. They do some warm-up before they get on the water. It's amazing how that works. All right, so we got shoulder stability, we got neck mobility, we got mid-back mobility, we got core engagement. Those are the main topics and main parts of our warm-up. Good job, guys. I didn't have to show anything. All right, so everybody take a peek at your sheet for me. So I tend to draw stick figures, because a lot of things that I tend to do aren't exactly the typical. And so I've learned to draw stick figures for everything. That little triangle thing on top, on the little ball that's on top of the little guy that looks like a stick figure, that's your nose. It tells you where you're pointed. So if you stand and his nose is looking kind of straight out, you're looking straight out too. If you can't see the nose, that means the head's turned away from you. It's just a little circle. Just a little FYI for you. Everybody understand my little stick figures? Perfect. I tried to use technology. Technology didn't work for me, so I went back to stick figures. All right. So, first one, are warming up more of our core and our hips. Okay? So everybody kind of spread out. Give yourself a little bit of room. You're going to be on the ground because you're going to be on the ground when you're going to warm up for kayaking as well. You're not going to be close to anybody. So the first one is like standing back lunges. What muscles do we want to work with this? Glutes, core. Perfect. Wonderful. Also, what we work with this is some balance. Because whenever I have you back lunge, I want you to stand here for a second before you put that other foot down and go to the other side. And so you actually balance, and it warms up your hip flexor to core. And so that piece is very important. You're not just going back and just back lunging. You have to get that core engagement part within it and that balance. So you don't have to go all the way down. If you want to, you are free to. But you can just go back and just do a little one and stand up to balance. Everybody try. When you lunge, one of the reasons I have you do a back lunge is so you're actually taking a fairly decent step back so your front knee doesn't go over top your toes too much. It can a little bit. It's not like a hard and fast rule. Good. Make sure you hold that for like at least a second or two. If you can't stand on one leg, then you need to work on it. This is personal progression time. You should be able to stand on one leg and keep that other leg up. Okay? It should not be hard, it should be easy. Anybody have any questions with that? Does anybody's hips actually get tight with this? Okay? So if your hips actually get more tight with this, then what do you think you need to do? More core. That is exactly right. And so the reason why we're doing this is so you warm up this guy. If you are not using it as well, then you need to actually think about engaging it. So you come down, come up, and really squeeze that core. Okay? I talked to another guy today about like kind of a flattening feeling. Yep, so that's your hip flexors. That means that you need more core with it. Okay? Or you can come up and rest your foot and then engage your core. Okay? And so instead of actually going to the full hold, you go here. It still makes you balance, but it just takes a little bit of weight off that leg. Okay, so let's have everybody just try the modification. Not fully lift, but just set that foot down. Yeah, she's got it. Come on, everybody, let's go. A couple more times. Everyone just stop. Now you feel the core. And so if something is a little bit too hard, then let's make it easy where we get what we want. Okay? It's not that you're cheating or taking a step back. You're actually doing more beneficial things for your body. You're making it where you're actually using what you're supposed to. Okay? Let me snag that pen back there. I'm going to write down these modifications as we go. And so then everybody that put their name on that email will get a kind of a reiteration of the modifications that we talked about, okay? All right, perfect. So the next one, Sumo Squats. This also warms up what? Glutes. Yeah, and? Yeah! Core and glutes. All right, so what you're going to do, your feet are going to be pointed out wide. Okay? One reason why sumo squats are good for kayakers is because we're always wide. One reason why sumo squats are good for C1ers is because you have tight hips. Okay, and they need to get moving. And so they're good for both in different ways, though. Okay? And so what you're going to do, feet are wide, knees press out, and you come down. And then you come back up. Yep. So when you press your knees out wide, that makes your glute muscles fire even better. Okay? You can stick your arms out. That usually is a nice little counterbalance for you. Everyone looks like they're plie-ing. I'm really happy about this right now. Good, perfect. How does that feel for everybody? Do you have any back pain with it? Do you have any hip pain with it? Feel what? My hips pop. Your hips pop. That means you need to use a little bit more core, honey. Is that better? Yeah. It's kind of weird, isn't it? It's weird how you're like, oh, well, this is what happens. What do I do about it? Most likely the answer is going to be more core. Most likely. Unless we're like doing a little head movement, and then it probably won't be more core. Feels better with that, doesn't it? So that popping that she felt was her hip flexor tendon popping over a part of her pelvis because her hip flexor was trying to work when it shouldn't. Any questions on this guy? You guys did beautiful on your sumo squat. Wonderful. All right. So